Hi, and welcome back to the Getting Married Multiculturally podcast. This is episode number 33, and today's topic is about how can we get our wedding guests to be engaged in taking pictures. And what I mean by that is how can we make them want to be in the photo? They want to pose for the photo. And plus, how can they participate into taking some pictures with their phone or with their camera that they bring? So that's what today's podcast episode is going to be about. And I also have a sponsor for this episode, which is Artifact Uprising. It is an online printing lab, a really, really good one that I love. I used them a bunch of times. You can order your wedding albums. If you want to DIY them and you're not having your wedding photographer make them for you, you can order prints, wall prints, or gift prints for your parents and family. You can also order invitations and cards, RSVP cards, programs, thank you cards, whatever you need for your wedding. Or you can even send gifts or photo prints to your long distance partner or to your family who lives abroad. They have albums that are soft cover books. I made one of those to my husband for Father's Day, and they are super lightweight, so it's a really good option for you if you want to ship some albums or photo books to your family. Or you can print out a calendar where you can have different pictures for each month. I think that's also a really cute idea for wedding guests or for your family members who can't be with you all the time. Another thing I love about Artifact Uprising is that you can upload the pictures directly from Instagram or Dropbox, which makes everything so much easier if you have some pictures sent to you from your family or friends. They are really well-known printer lab among other couples who are getting married and looking to make their own album. So I would really recommend them to you if you're looking into a printer shop where you can make your own album. And to check them out, you just go to editvashadi.com/artifact uprising, and I will put that link in the show note. I know that these days most people are used to having their pictures taken because of the iPhones and DSLR cameras. People are taking selfies constantly. You see somebody taking a picture, so maybe you are in it. But still, when it comes to wedding day, I think it's important to talk about this so we don't run into any surprises and we can plan everything out ahead of time. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it's okay if we are kind of planning out our timeline and talking to our guests and, just talking to our guests about photos that will be taken on the wedding day. It's something that most guests would kind of expect and be normal for them, especially family members, that they need to have some group pictures taken. But I think that there is a little bit of worry sometimes for some of the couples thinking about some of their family members or friends maybe not wanting to have pictures taken, or maybe they're always want to be taking pictures so they are never in it. But let's not jump too much ahead of myself, because I made a list of what type of guests could you potentially have on your wedding day. And one of them is somebody who just doesn't care. They are okay with having their photos taken. People look beautiful on wedding days. They got ready. They maybe bought a new dress, a new outfit. They have their makeup and hair done. So they don't mind being photographed. And sometimes they would even want to jump into pictures because they're just so happy and excited and everybody's smiling. So for some people, that would just be normal to have it. And I personally love candids, and one of the challenges I have as a photographer is sometimes people, when they're aware of camera being in front of them or they're aware that somebody's photographing them, they would just start fake smiling or looking into a camera and changing their facial expression, or maybe looking away if they don't want to be in a picture. So that's a little bit challenging for me, because the reason I want to photograph somebody is because I see them doing something that I think would be really good to have a picture of, and they just change that by being aware of the camera. The second type of wedding guest is who don't want any photos of them. They're always turning away. When they see a camera or a phone, they run away, they go behind it, or maybe they even tell you no thank you because I don't look good, I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm old. I'm sure that all of us heard these kind of excuses of self-consciousnesses. I don't know if that's a word, but if you are aware of this, that you're going to have some guests who just will cover their faces, especially relatives who think that they're not worth to be on a photo, you can have a conversation with them and tell them that, these pictures are made for the couple. These pictures all taken for their children, for the future generations, so they can have pictures of people who attended at the wedding and memories of them. And the truth is that we all get older every year, and every year you look older on the pictures, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And anyway, the photos are made for memories, and if they don't want to have those photos of themselves at that moment, that's okay. But I have a feeling that down the road, a couple of years later, they're just gonna ask you, hey, do you have a photo of me from your wedding? And they're gonna see how good they looked and how younger they were. Because if you're looking in the pictures years and years later, you notice how younger you were on that photo. But also for people who couldn't be at your wedding because they live far away, or they weren't able to make it to your wedding, and they would like to see some pictures from your wedding day, and they would also like to see who attended at the wedding. So make sure that you communicate that with those guests, that you think that they wouldn't want to be on any of your photos on your wedding day. And the third type of guest is who wants to take pictures all the time. So they're basically not in it. They just want to take the photos. And for this, a simple solution is to make your wedding unplugged, which means that you don't want guests to be taking pictures. But maybe you think in the opposite way, because you actually do want to encourage your guests to take pictures. I had an episode 21, that I was talking about what happens if somebody is not hiring a wedding photographer. So if you're going on that route, maybe you do want to encourage your guests to take pictures, but you also want to make sure that those who are actively doing that, they're still in the photos too. I mean, I'm speaking from my own experience because I am taking pictures all the time, no matter what we do. Even if we just go to the park on a weekend, or if we go on vacation, or if I'm at the wedding day or any kind of event or family event, I'm barely on any photos unless I purposefully ask somebody to take a picture of me. So I know that feeling, but make sure that you find some alternatives and some ways to play around with this. But if you don't want people to take pictures, then you can always have an unplugged wedding. And if you don't know what unplugged wedding is, I had an episode about that, episode number 8, where I talked about how you can ask your guests to not be on their phone. So unplug their phones when they're at the wedding. They usually, during the wedding ceremony, it's not necessarily the whole day, and that's because the bride and the groom wouldn't want you to just look at your phone and just enjoy the moment and let the professional photographer take all the pictures. So Anyway, if you do have guests who are taking pictures and you see them throughout the day taking pictures and videos, there are a lot of really, really good apps where you can collect all of these photos to yourself so they don't have to individually send it to you on emails or phones or Facebook Messenger. By the way, if somebody sends you photos through a Facebook Messenger, Facebook usually distorts the quality of the photo so it looks more grungy, more pixelated, because they want the photos to go through faster and more efficiently, so they kind of shrink the quality of the photos. So don't ever send pictures on Facebook to somebody, pictures that are important for you. Anyway, there are a lot of really good apps where you can do that. For example, Wedbox or Eversnap. These are just two of them, and I will put the link in a show notes so you can search them and look them up and see which one fits you best. And I'm sure that there are a few other ones too. But also discuss with them if you are okay with them sharing pictures on social media during the wedding day or right after the wedding day, because maybe you want to reserve that first posting, the first picture on Facebook and Instagram to yourself. So you don't want a bunch of guests to randomly put pictures of you on your wedding day on social media, or you do want. That's completely your choice, and it's something that I would recommend you to put a note about this on your wedding website. All right, now let's see what are some ideas. How can you actually make your wedding guests participate in taking pictures? How can you make them want to take pictures? And even if it's just one or two, but at least you have a photo of the person who doesn't like to be taken pictures of. So first of all, before your wedding day, the pre-wedding, you can get them really excited by setting up a website, a wedding website, and sharing some pictures there or some of the program that you're having. If you're having a blended cultural ceremony or wedding day, share some traditions and rituals and what to expect, and what are some rituals where when you can't take pictures because it's not allowed, what are some occasions when taking pictures is encouraged. Maybe you're gonna have a designated time. Let's say my spouse and I will be posing at this wall right after the ceremony so everybody have a chance to take photos of them. That's also one of the options that people would choose if they don't want a guest to randomly be taking pictures or waiting for their turn or jumping in front of the professional photographer, just being rude because they really want this photo. But if you have this designated time and location that they know about it, then they can use that and have their pictures taken, or have their pictures taken with the couple. Or you can also post on your website some good photos from your engagement, some photos, old memories that will get them excited to wanting to have more pictures with you. Like, oh, this was so long time ago, we need more new photos with you. So if you are looking into setting up a wedding website for yourself, you can do that through Zola, which is a really, really good service where they have a registry and a free wedding website setup option with all tutorials. You can load up a bunch of things that you need: calendar, photos, a story about you, and all kinds of important details, and of course your wedding registry. You can also set up expectations before the wedding and tell your guests that, listen, on my wedding day, I don't know, between 5 and 6 or right after the ceremony or before dinner, we're going to have 30 minutes, 1 hour of time when we're taking group pictures. And, most people, couples and the guests, they're not really excited about this part of the day because it's boring. You have to stand there, wait for your turn. So get in there, put a smile on, and then, make sure that you have group pictures with everybody. So if you tell them that the more efficient we are, if you're there, if we're fast, then we can be done faster. So this is one of the expectations. If they know what's going to happen, if they know what's expected from us throughout the day, then they're prepared to have that and they are even ready. For example, if you have ladies who like to freshen up their makeup or fix their dress and they know that, well, not just dress, you don't have to wear dress, you can wear pants too. But anyway, if they want to get themselves freshened up before taking pictures, that's also something where you're respecting the guests and you're making them understand that this is what's going to happen and this is where I need you to be on the specific time to take pictures. Also think about language barriers. If you are having guests who are coming from another country who don't speak the language that your majority of your guests are, or where your wedding is, maybe they will have some type of nervousness or self-consciousness, or maybe they don't even understand what the photographer is saying or wanting from them. And this is something that if you think ahead of time, then you can maybe find a photographer who's bilingual, who can help your guests communicate with them a little bit faster and easier, or just tell those people again what's expected from them. Also, if you have a little bit shy guests who you think they wouldn't mind being on a picture, but they just need to loosen up a little bit, you can always find these fun little ways to encourage people to take pictures. For example, setting up a photo booth or having a live stream on your wall at the reception. So photo booth, if you have that, you have all kinds of props and people would walk in and take silly pictures, and that's better than nothing. And who doesn't want to take silly pictures in the box? I mean, I think it's super fun, and even just guests would drag each other inside, even those who doesn't want to go. And it's just fun, and they are encouraging each other to take pictures. Same with the live stream that you would have on a wall. And what I mean by that is you set up this system where guests can send a photo through this service and have it projected on a wall. And that also encourages the guests to, oh, we should take a picture. So we're going to see it on a wall and everybody can see it. And that's another fun way to do that. And guests will always want to take photos if they know that they want to do something with those photos afterwards. For example, they want to share it on social media, so they do want to have pictures and they say to show off like, hey, I'm right here at this wedding. Or they want pictures with people that they haven't seen for a long time. Or they want to print out some photos. Maybe your parents wanting to have photos with you on your wedding day and to print it out and put it on their wall or on their shelf. And again, you can check out some of these printer options at Artifact Uprising, which is our sponsor for today. You can go to edithvashadi.com/Artifact Uprising and check out their beautiful products. Maybe you have parents who would like to order some albums and you just want to do it yourself. And I recommend them to most of my clients who are looking to DIY their own wedding albums. The other way you can ease up this whole process is just by communicating with your wedding photographer and telling them which person is going to be a little bit more shy or self-conscious or just hide away from the camera so they are aware of it, and maybe they don't have to be so sneaky, or they do have to be sneaky. If you have guests who are a little bit shy, especially kids, the photographer can warm them up by just talking to them a little bit so they get to know the photographer and it's not so strange. Because, maybe after the shyness goes away, they will be willing to take some photos. Or you can talk to your photographer to have a lens that allows them to shoot from a distance. And that way your shy guests are not they don't have a camera in their face so closely, and maybe they don't even notice somebody's taking pictures of them. That's also something you can discuss with your photographer if you're too worried about this. Or you can also have a really fast photographer, somebody who doesn't take forever and slowly to post people, so uh, they get all of this nervousness thinking about, am I standing it good? Do I look good? The photographer is not saying anything. What am I supposed to do? I don't even want to be here. So they don't look happy. They're not smiling on a picture. If it's taking forever for the photographer to take those group shots, maybe they even walk away, or they just start crying if they're kids, or change their mind or whatever. So you have to have a fast photographer, and fast in a sense of candids too. So if they're trying to snap a photo of somebody doing something without them noticing, that needs to happen really fast, because they will lose that moment and the person will notice that, oh no, here's the photographer. They're taking pictures of me. I need to look away, or I need to cover my face. I had a grandma who I took pictures of her smiling and holding the groom's hand, and I didn't think much of it, but I was really fast because things are happening, and I just ran there and take this shot really fast. But later on, I found out that the groom was telling me that they don't have any photos of his grandma where she would be smiling. She's always just so grumpy and angry on photos, and that was just a really good compliment for me to know that how important it is to act fast so we can capture these fast moments. And I know I'm getting into very, very specifics here, but it's important when you are aware of these sort of say problems on your wedding day to find a photographer who has maybe a proper lens, is fast, speaks the language that's needed, or is efficient. It's enough to talk to kids and take his time or her time to speak to everybody, to warm them up. And then also, I have an episode about how to choose your wedding photographer. If that will be helpful for you, it's episode 29 that you can listen. And lastly, give your guests something to do, some kind of game or fun not exercise. Don't do exercises on your wedding day. Fun activities or games that they can do that requires pictures taken or being in a picture. For example, you can, especially if you're not having a professional photographer, but even if you do, it can be a fun little, it's called I Spy game, where you have a list of things they need to take photos of, and they just go and try to snap a photo of that thing or of that happening, like take a photo of the couple kissing, or take a photo of the cake, or take a photo of a kid, and try to do that. And that will result a really, really cool gallery for you, where you see pictures from different viewpoints from your guests. And with this, you can also control of what do you want pictures of. Do you care about a lot of details? Do you care about a lot of moments? Do you care about having photos of people? So you can control by making this list of what are the things that are important for you. If you have really shy people or nervous people, or feel that they're awkward just standing there and not knowing what to do, you can always help them and encourage them, make them do something. And I'm sure that if you have a good photographer, they will do that anyway. But you can tell maybe a kid, oh, can you go and bring me something? And they do it, and you have these opportunities to take a picture of them. Or asking a parent to fluff your dress, or go there and talk to somebody, or fix my necklace. And by giving people these actions to do, it makes them think about what they're actually doing instead of thinking about that they're having their pictures taken. So that's really, really helpful. And it gives your photographer an opportunity to snap those photos, to document that moment, and not to just have stiff, awkward photos that ultimately nobody's going to want later on. Okay, so these were all of my suggestions of things you can do to ease your guests up. But ultimately, they have to understand, and you have to understand too, that these photos are taken for the couples, for memories that the couples would like to have. And your guests should really respect that and honor that. And every guest want to make the couple happy. So if you just approach it that way, that it will make you really happy and you won't feel honored and it's for your memories, then who was gonna ever say no to the bride or groom? You just have to wait for the right moment. Maybe they're gonna say no the whole time before your wedding, and then on your wedding day they see you and they just gonna completely change their mind. But anything that you want to discuss previously, make sure that you do that. That's what the phones are for. That's what the websites are for. Call them, put up notes so they are aware of your plans and your wishes. But be considerate about multicultural differences, different traditions. For example, if you have a grandma who comes from a culture where they are not used to taking pictures, or it's just not part of their culture, maybe they feel really shy or nervous about what is going on, what is gonna happen, they're not sure. Just be aware of that too, because we're talking here about different experiences in our life, and just if we respect that, mutually respect each other, then ultimately we can all have the photos that we want. All right, this is all I had for you about this topic. I hope that I was able to encourage you a little bit if you were disappointed, and give you some ideas to talk to your guests and make some new plans. And you can find today's show notes and blog post at editbashadi.com/wedding guest pictures. Also, don't forget to check out Artifact Uprising, who's our sponsor for the show. And before you leave, I would really appreciate if you could take 2 seconds to leave me a review and let me know how did you like this show, or how did you like this specific episode. You can also hop on Instagram and see some of my wedding photos, maybe also on my website. I have a gallery where I share some documented moments that I have taken, and maybe it will help you to get inspired a little bit, or help you feel like it's okay if something doesn't happen the way you are planning to or imagine, because no weddings are ever going to be perfect. They're gonna have just a lot of really, really fun and sometimes joyful memories. Okay, we came to the end of this episode. Next week, I am going to be talking about what happens if somebody is scared to make the move to a new country, and we often have these nervousness and worries about what is going to happen. I never been there. I don't know how it is to live to this foreign place, which I didn't have. I wish I would have, because it would have made me prepare a little bit better to what was coming in my future. But a lot of you are smarter than me, and you are conscious about changing your life forever. And it scares you, it worries you. So that's what I'm going to be talking about next week. I hope that you tune in. And until then, have a great day. See you later. Bye.